Awesome. Hey guys. Uh, Thank you for being here. I know it's different than all of us expected, but that is the case kind of with everything right now. So kind of related to that, I'll just start off and say, most people can't plan what their life is going to look like 3 to 4 years from now. Um, like Sarah Day said, I left my hometown a few years ago, was born and raised in Fort Collins, and I always had the singular goal of being a journalist. I had a ton of internships in high school, in college, and I was working at this local newspaper and loved the job. But something was tugging at me and saying that it was time to leave my hometown, which is also where I went to college. I found a job at the Greenville News in Greenville, South Carolina, which is a city I had never heard about being from Colorado. I Googled it and it's beautiful. It has a river running down, the center of downtown. And like you can really only do easily in your early 20s, I went ahead and packed up my Honda Civic and moved across country within just a few weeks. Soon after I moved there, I took a leap of faith and started working for a journalism startup that had just existed and just started. I was the first employee and really took a leap of faith starting there. That really is kind of was one of the moments showing how leaps of faith can really bring you to so many different moments that you can never imagine. One, including meeting someone named Kevin, who you will hear a lot more about now. We met because he was working in a co-working space that he was at because of his own spontaneous circumstances. He was living in an apartment in Charleston that was built during the recession, and the builders cut corners. It was condemned and unsafe to live in soon after, and everyone had a few weeks to find a new home. So he did what, most mid 20s people would do, and he moved back home with his parents and like figured out his next move. That meant working at a co-working space, and that co-working space was right next to my office. We met in a way that our friends find wild nowadays. We just met because we walked past each other for months until one of us finally said something. Soon after, we moved to Asheville so I could take another job in this same company. We were really excited to explore a new city together, not just his hometown that I was now living in. And soon after, we got engaged in Black Mountain at the Leaf Music Festival. It was in a very us way, where there's some moments of very planned moments and some spontaneous, in the sense that he had crafted his own ring box for me for the ring that I picked out. It was pouring rain and the mud was so deep that we had to hold our chacos. Getting to know me, I am a person that really loves having a plan, loves knowing what's next, and also loves moving forward, even if it's, in a way that is go with the flow. Within that, we had had enough conversations before that we knew we were going to get married. We discussed it, and I had already booked the venue because I know how fast they book up. So, the ball was already rolling. And something that is funny when you get engaged is the first thing people ask is, how's wedding planning going? So early on, I just said, it's done. It's just a lot of logistics. I had the spreadsheets. The vision is really just one foot in front of the other to get the logistics done. In addition to juggling work, new roles, new jobs, and new life in Asheville, we confirmed all our wedding details. The best part of the process was bonding with our friends and our family, including, a big wedding party with friends that are spread across the country, envisioning what we can plan for. That looks like small details, buying a wedding dress, shopping for suits together, and just really is a fun season. Now, like a lot of people, this season that we're in right now is full of a lot of changes, a lot of lost expectations, updated plans, and also heartache. Ours has been no different, and this global pandemic is intertwined with our story. Just like so many graduates, new parents, life has gone on no matter the pandemic or not. Working in journalism, I had been thinking a lot about COVID-19 starting in February. Ironically, the week before I wrote my first article about it was the week after my bachelorette party in Asheville. So, right after I got home, started a work week, and something that I do to relieve stress sometimes, other than, being outside, is I love to go to movies alone. I just pick whatever kind of the worst, maybe like a rom-com movie is, and I see it in the theater alone. So I was at Alamo Draft House in late February and had just finished a movie. And little did I know it was the last movie I would see in the theaters for many, many months. I was in my car afterwards and I remember just crying. And that was the first time I really felt I had a break to think about all the lives that were being affected, the lives being lost, and kind of what we were going through as a society. A few days later, it really sunk in that this pandemic was going to affect our lives in a huge way. And Kevin and I were standing in our kitchen. He asked what would the situation would be better for me, in addition to kind of being in the day to day of the pandemic during my work days. The evenings were spent kind of wondering what was going to happen with what we had been planning for so long, our wedding. The reality of what would make me feel better was just knowing when we could get married. As someone that likes to know what my plan is, I did not like that unknownness. I love being in control and kind of being able to put one foot in front of the other. I joined a wedding Facebook group, and there was dozens of posts a day about people's, changing their events, canceling their events, and this was in the very beginning of the outbreak. I knew ours wouldn't look no different. That was Sunday, and we started calling all our close friends and family and asking them if they'd be okay if we eloped, and everyone said yes. So the next day, we found a wedding photographer on Reddit. Shout out to Just in Case Photography, who just responded to a Reddit post. And I Googled and I found something called Last Minute Officiant, and she will officiate a wedding within 4 hours notice for $140. And that was Sunday. Monday, we went ahead and got our wedding certificate. Tuesday, we finished our work day. I put the dress on that I bought a few weeks early for rehearsal dinner. Kevin put his Banana Republic suit on that we shopped during Christmas. And we eloped. We got married at the Raleigh Rose Garden with our beloved dog and two close family members. We got takeout from Crawford and Sons after. When we returned our wedding certificate the next day, to the courthouse, they were preparing to start working remote the next week. There were people there outfitting computers with cameras. That way they could do, appointments remotely. We really felt like we were of the last kind of phase of people that were able to get wedding certificates before courts shut down. Our original wedding day, a 200-person event in Colorado, was supposed to be Saturday. Instead, we just got back from celebrating our 2-month anniversary in the mountains. We got a little wedding cake and we ate it with our dog. The dog did not get cake, but we were just the three of us, just like our wedding day. Um, it's funny because we know we're privileged during this time. We have our health, we have jobs, and we felt so loved and supported. There's been little moments of joy during the worst moment in modern history. So the pandemic isn't over, and eventually we'll celebrate with our friends and family. But for now, we're celebrating by spending a lot of quality time together as newlyweds, being, sheltering in place together still. And we'll have a great story to tell our kids when they ask about the pandemic and what that meant for our journey together.